Testing, 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 testing.
So I was going to talk to you about
Moving those rocks out of the
some
park.
rocks and we make
Testing, testing, testing.
parks and I'm going to have a tractor there and I'm going to knock a couple of us. Hey Jody, nice to see you. Hey, we're at 6 o'clock. Okay. Woody's doing the invocation. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular Paradise Town Council meeting for August 12th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation to be given by Councilman Steve Culleton. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Loving God, we ask you to come upon us, join with us tonight as we make decisions for the citizens of the town of Paradise. We ask that you guide us in our decision making. We ask that you keep all of the residents of the town of Paradise safe, both today and in the future, especially those that have suffered fire loss recently. And we also ask that you protect all of our public safety personnel in the town, as well as our armed forces, both here and abroad. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Steve. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Here.
Councilmember Culleton,
Here.
Councilmember Jones,
Here.
Councilmember Rawlings,
Here.
Mayor Lauder.
Here. Okay, tonight, I'm very pleased that we have a proclamation recognizing the California Reads Initiative, War Comes Home. And here accepting on behalf of the Butte County Library, I believe we have Oliver Allen, Outreach Coordinator, Rhonda Hoffman, who is on the Butte County Library Advisory Board, Mel Lightbody, the Butte County Librarian, and Katie Stecker, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, with Paradise Friends of the Library. So I will, I'll read the proclamation, and since it's lengthy, you can stay seated if you want to. And then you can come forward. Whereas the Paradise Friends of the Library, on behalf of the Butte County Library, received a Cal Humanities grant to engage the community in the War Comes Home initiative in such a way as to promote the library as a safe place for veterans and their families to meet with advocates and access resources. And whereas Cal Humanities is an independent nonprofit partner with the National Endowment for the Humanities, founded in 1975 as a granting organization that has grown and evolved over the years to promote the humanities as relevant, meaningful ways to understand the human condition and connect citizens to each other in order to become a better California. And whereas, starting in 2014, Cal Humanities is embarking on a multi-year initiative, War Comes Home, to focus on the experience of veterans returning from war in order to create opportunities for communities across California to grapple with critical questions in the aftermath of over a dozen years of war. And whereas, California Reads, a program of Cal Humanities in partnership with the California Center for the Book, which invites Californians from all walks of life throughout our state to participate in reading and discussion programs and related activities to be hosted by libraries, schools, colleges, bookstores, and other community institutions. And whereas, to coincide with War Comes Home initiative, California Reads has chosen Carl Marlante's book, What It's Like to Go to War, to anchor the read. And whereas the Butte County Library has scheduled 8 community sessions to take place at 4 branches of the library for veteran advocates to present information on veteran resources available in our communities, for community book discussions, and to give our veterans a chance to share their stories. Now, therefore, I, Scott Lauder, Mayor of the Town of Paradise, hereby recognize the efforts of the Butte County Library in promoting the Cal Humanities Initiative for the benefit of local veterans and their families, and in providing a forum in which our community can gather to discuss the impacts of war and encourage the citizens of Paradise to read the book and join the discussion. The Paradise Friends of the Library will be hosting forums in the community room of the Paradise branch of the library on September 18th and November 1st. So come on forward.
Yeah, good. If we could maybe give you Thank you very much.
Now we're going. If you'd like to say something, the microphone is yours.
Mayor, members of the council, whoa, I'm loud. I'm Mel Lightbody, County Librarian. I just wanted to commend before you the Paradise Friends of the Library who went and got this grant and who have planned this whole thing. And this community has much to be proud of in the work that they did. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Rhonda, please.
I'd like to take this opportunity to commend your staff, Joanna Gutierrez, for working to put this grant together, and for her, she works hard for the town, but she's also working very hard for our community, and I think she needs to be recognized for her efforts bringing this to our community.
All right. Thank you, Rhonda, and thank you, Joanna. Much appreciated.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Mayor Lauder, for authoring the proclamation and bringing it to the attention of our community. I have a brief PowerPoint to provide a little visual for our project here.
Fire away.
Okay. So the Butte County Library and the Paradise Friends of the Library have partnered to engage our community in the Cal Humanities Initiative. The purpose of the grant is to engage libraries and other institutions in promoting the initiative, but the purpose of our grant is to promote the library as a safe place for veterans and their families to meet with advocates and access local resources. A lot of this will repeat what was in your proclamation, but bear with me. California Humanities is an independent nonprofit partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. It was founded in 1975 as a granting organization that's grown and evolved over the years to promote the humanities as relevant, meaningful ways to understand the human condition and connect citizens to each other in order to become a better California. Starting in 2014, Cal Humanities is embarking on this multi-year initiative, War Comes Home, to focus on the experience of veterans returning home from war to create opportunities for communities across California to grapple with critical questions in the aftermath of over a dozen years of war. California Reads is a program of Cal Humanities that works in partnership with the California Center for the Book to invite California to participate in reading and discussion programs to be hosted by libraries, schools, colleges, bookstores, and other community institutions. And this is the author of the book, Karl Marlantes, picture taken of him when he was serving in Vietnam in the fall of 1968. And as you noted in your proclamation, this to coincide with the War Comes Home initiative, California Reads has chosen Karl Marlantes' book, What It's Like to Go to War, to anchor the read. The Butte County Library staff has scheduled 8 sessions to take place at 4 branches of the library for veteran advocates to present information on veteran resources available in our communities and to give our veterans a chance to share their stories. There's 4 Thursday evening sessions and 4 Saturday afternoon sessions that will provide broad opportunity for participation. We tried to accommodate the needs of families and also of retired persons. Please join the discussion. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna.
As
Okay.
well, one more thing, the library has provided a set of 10 books that book groups can check out for discussion purposes. I provided you each a copy of the book, and anybody who would like a copy of the book could contact me or contact one of your local librarians.
Okay, moving on to two items we referred from previous meetings. We're going to get an update from our town engineer, Mark Maddox, on the progress and schedule for construction on the Downtown Paradise Safety Project. Mark?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. Tonight, staff will be providing an update on the downtown project as well as several other grant-funded projects. But first, following 6 months of outreach, the Town Council approved the Downtown Paradise Safety Project on May 13th, 2014, and this project was approved with a defined purpose. Town Council acknowledged Skyway safety as an absolute priority while maintaining roadway capacity. With this in mind, the project aims to provide a safer commercial corridor which addresses high speeds, difficult crosswalks, and frequent collisions. Project objectives are attained by implementing the 3-lane layout with a center turn lane, installing enhanced pedestrian crosswalks, and coordinating the traffic signals. Successful project construction is underway through George Reed Incorporated. A few key notes for council which may be of interest as construction has progressed. The traffic signals have been switched to fixed timing intervals at Pearson and Skyway, as well as Elliott and Skyway. And what this means is those signals operate on predefined intervals. It's really changed from an on-demand response signal, and this has allowed us to do those signal modifications, including the GPS coordination and installing new traffic loops. So motorists are noticing maybe waiting a little bit longer. We're doing different cycle lengths to optimize for construction. But again, during those nighttime hours, it's going to have a red light for Skyway and a green light for Elliott, whether there's a car there or not. Again, to balance that, again, at the same time balancing the peak hour in the afternoon from 4 to 5 for northbound and 5 to 6. So that's one important note for the public to understand. We've been working on optimizing this traffic flow, and everyone should be cautioned that this is not representative of the final product. The traffic signals will include that GPS coordination that will allow a green light, and at a certain speed that another green light will be waiting for you. So good news is on the way, going through construction. Also, we've seen that through traffic in the downtown has slowed down to reasonable and safe speeds. George Reed is making significant progress on schedule and on budget. We expect sidewalk construction to continue for the next several weeks with signal modifications occurring at the same time. George Reed informed me today they're planning on paving in early September, which could bring an early conclusion to the project in mid-September, but we're hoping with all the equipment to arrive here by total project completion by the end of September. So that's the update for the downtown project, but we're also pleased to report back to council on several other grant-funded projects. First is our Paradise Signal Upgrade Project. This was a grant that Town Council approved several months back. And what this does, it retrofits all 15 of our traffic signals in town to include battery backup systems for power outages, emergency vehicle detection for faster and quicker emergency response, in addition to pedestrian countdown signals. This project cost us $310,000 with $290,000 being federally funded. The latest update is we received federal authorization to proceed to construction, and staff anticipates bringing this project forward for council approval at the September meeting to advertise and approve the project for construction later this year. Secondly, our Cypress Curve Realignment Project. This again was another grant-funded project, $1.2 million with $1.1 being federally funded. The scope of this project is to improve the horizontal curves and geometrics on Clark Road near Cypress Lane. It's historically been a problem for safety in that area, so we have a grant to address those issues. Staff will bring recommendations to council next month as well for a consultant recommendation to complete the design of that project. We're tentatively scheduling construction for fiscal year 16-17. Lastly, we're excited to report to council we have heard initial word that the California Transportation Commission will be recommending the town of Paradise to receive $2.3 million in active transportation program funds for 2 critical Paradise projects. The first being the Pearson Road Safe Routes to School project. The scope of this project includes construction of sidewalk, curb, and gutter along Pearson Road between Black Olive and Academy, in addition to the missing link on the south side of Pearson between Skyway and Almond. This project cost is about $1.3 million with 100% being funded through this grant. Secondly, we received another grant this week, or a tentative approval of these grants. The second one is the Maxwell Drive Safe Routes to School project near Paradise High School. The project scope includes construction of the ADA compliant sidewalk, curb gutter on the west side of Maxwell Drive between Elliott and Skyway, with bicycle lanes to be installed on both directions of the road. This project cost is $950,000 with no local match as well. So with that, we're excited to share the good news and continue with the downtown project successfully on time. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Did council have any questions or comments?
I just have a comment. I wanted to commend Mark on getting those 2 advanced active transportation project grants. That was a statewide competition, and I know it was very, very competitive. And I heard that not very many communities got anything, and Paradise got 2.
Right.
So you did a great job.
Well, it's a team effort. Colette Curtis, administrative analyst for the town manager's office, actually wrote the narrative. She did a fantastic job. I really put this project into words, and I have no doubt this project wouldn't exist without her efforts, and as well as field personnel and Paul Durr working on this. So it was definitely a team effort. Thank you.
I got a question. Mark, on the Maxwell Drive, when is that going to happen?
It'll have sidewalk, curb and gutter, infill those missing links, and get ADA compliance along the west side of Maxwell Drive between Elliott and Skyway, and then bicycle lanes and road widening as needed to get bicycle lanes in both directions on
When?
Maxwell.
He was asking when.
Yeah, when is that scheduled to
Oh, I'm
happen?
so sorry. I thought you said what. The project budget is for 14-15 and 15-16, so once these are authorized, staff will need to make this a critical priority for construction by the end of fiscal year 14 or 15-16.
Okay. And I understand that project is only to build sidewalks and a bike lane. There's no monies in those grants for any road, for redoing the road surface, right?
That's correct. This is the active transportation program, which is dedicated towards non-motorized modes of travel.
Right.
So any road commitment which the town can partner with this grant would be funded locally through gas tax.
Okay, that's where I was going, was like,
Right.
maybe we can look at like trying to find by 15, 16, we can find a way to,
Budget
get
that
some
in.
road money and do the whole deal all at one time while
Yep.
we got equipment.
That would make sense.
And you were going to you'll coordinate with the school district on
Right.
when that's,
Construction, yep.
yeah.
Once
Summer
it's
break,
we
something.
expect final approval on August 20th, and once that is official, we'll then begin the process and set everything in motion. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. The audience want to make a comment about exciting news? Okay. We are moving on to our consent calendar. On the consent calendar, one roll call vote will be taken for all items placed on the consent calendar. Do we have any cards on the consent calendar?
No cards for consent, but just a comment on the handbook that I eliminated the references to the motor pool under the police department because it's now fleet services manager and it's under the direction of the town manager. No more motor pool.
Okay, thank you for
So I corrected
making that
page 9 and
correction.
page 12.
Any comments? And there was no cards, nobody in the audience wanted to come forward and talk about any of those items? Okay.
Approval.
We have a motion by Jones and a second by Culleton. Roll call?
And the roll call, Vice Mayor Boland,
Aye.
Councilmember Culleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Jones,
Aye.
Councilmember Rawlings,
Aye.
and Mayor Lauder.
Aye. And I want to just take a moment on item 3H. I want to thank Wes Dinsmore and his wife. He's our fleet manager, town mechanic, for donating a radar trailer to the police department. Ours had kind of died a slow death, and so Wes has donated that to the town, and we sincerely appreciate that because I see it out on the roads. The VIPs pull it out a couple times a week. So to Wes, and of course we'll get a letter out to him too. Okay. Next is our public hearing procedure. Please take note of item 4 if you're interested in the public hearing on item 5A. Conduct a continued public hearing, consider the withdrawal of the appeal to the town council, the planning commission decision finding filed by Dana and Denise Bettis.
Craig Baker, our Community Development Director, will present this item.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Good evening, Mayor Lauder and the remaining council members. As our mayor's just explained, this item has been placed on your agenda for you to acknowledge the withdrawal of an appeal to this body of a Planning Commission decision. On February 20th, 2014, Dana and Denise Bettis filed a written appeal to the Town Council of an earlier Planning Commission interpretation of a portion of our zoning code regulations that prohibits fences or prohibited fences within private access easements. The Bettis appeal essentially asked the Town Council to find that a closed gate across an accessed easement is functionally equivalent to a fence and should therefore also be prohibited by the town. The Planning Commission didn't agree with that, and therefore the Planning Commission's appeal was, or the Planning Commission's decision was appealed to the Town Council. The Town Council conducted the appeal hearing on March 11th, 2014, and has subsequently continued the hearing to tonight's meeting. During the continuation period, the Town Council adopted an urgency ordinance that prohibited the establishment of any barriers, gates, fences, or any other barrier across access easements for a period of time in order to provide the town an opportunity to study the issue. Acknowledging that the placement of any barriers within private road easements may raise public safety and other issues, the Town Council adopted a 45-day urgency ordinance on March 19, 2014, and subsequently extended that ordinance at a public hearing. The urgency ordinance prohibited the installation of any barriers within private access easements. On July 8, 2014, the Town Council adopted Town Ordinance number 543 in an attempt to address this issue. The ordinance number 543 amended the town zoning code regulations in a manner that prohibits the establishment of new gates, fences, or any other barriers within private road access easements unless all parties with interest in the road easement have consented in writing to the establishment of any such barriers. And the effective date of ordinance 543 was August 7th, 2014, so it's currently in effect. Since Town Ordinance number 543 is in legal effect and regulates the establishment of any of these barriers within private access easements, the Bettis appeal is essentially moot. In the context of these circumstances, Dana and Denise Bettis formally withdrew their appeal to the Town Council of the Planning Commission's decision via email on July 16, 2014. And I've summarized a lot of these events for purposes of brevity, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have in greater detail. I would also suggest that if deemed necessary by the council, that you may accept public testimony regarding this item.
Okay. Just clarify, it says here we need to take a roll call vote, and I thought earlier it said we didn't need to do that. Was that on, or am I?
I don't think you need a roll call vote on this item to all.
Okay, that was the thing. So there, it's not necessarily to have a roll call on it since it's moot. We're not going anywhere with it. Do we have any cards on this item?
I have one card.
Okay.
Did you want to open?
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing.
Okay,
And-
the first card, the only card is from John Ramalia.
At a loss at this. Your own regulations regarding appeal of planning commission's decisions says very plainly, if the town does not finalize its action on the appeal within 90 days, finalize, not address it, the decision action of the planning commission shall be deemed affirmed. This is already over. By you not acting within 90 days and there being a specific answer in the of what happens, it being affirmed, you're right, it's moot. The council affirmed as did the court, affirmed the decision of the planning commission. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, you want me to address that issue? Or
yeah,
do you
yeah,
need
what is that?
any explanation?
Sure, yeah.
When the town council adopted the urgency ordinance, it related to the same subject matter as the appeal, whether or not you establish a fence or a gate within a private access way. That froze everything at that time. Urgency matter was to study whether or not you needed to amend your laws relating to the establishment of gates and barriers within a private access way. That's what the moratorium is all about. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a moratorium. It, on its face, it stops, freezes all activity relating to the subject matter.
Including any appeal, are you saying?
Anything
Okay.
relating to it, and the appeal was of the Planning Commission's action on something that wasn't even a pending application for a permit. It was just asking the Planning Commission to state what it deemed to be a fence and a gate. There's, the urgency was to study it. The council has adopted new regulations relating to the establishment of fences and gates and barriers on private access ways, and that's the law now. Whether or not the Planning Commission acted in a way in this 90-day period is not an issue at this point in time. It's immaterial, irrelevant, and meaningless.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Appreciate that clarification. Anybody else in the audience wanted to comment on this item? Okay, I'll now close the public hearing. And since we don't need to take an action, am I correct? We'll just move right along. So,
Do we accept
Council
that?
could take action to accept the
okay,
withdrawal.
so I'll accept a motion to, I'll entertain a motion to accept the withdrawal.
I move that we accept the withdrawal of the appeal.
I'll second it.
Motion by Colleton, second by Rollins. Roll call.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Aye.
Councilmember Cullivan, Councilmember Jones,
Aye.
Councilmember Rawlings,
Aye.
and Mayor Lauder.
Aye. Thank you. Next, we have public communication. This is time for members of the audience who've completed a request to address council card and given it to the clerk to present items not on the agenda. Comments should be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes duration. Town council is prohibited by state law from taking action on any item presented if it is not listed on the agenda. Do we have any cards tonight?
Yes, we have 3 cards tonight. First card is from Gene Mappa, and he will be followed by Susan Butler Mappa. No? Okay.
Council, town officials, my name is Gene Mappa. Property at 885 Panorama Point. To give you a little history, that property was purchased by my in-laws in 1977, so it's been in our family for, wife and I now own the property. That's just to give you. So and I've been coming to Paradise for 32 years, so that's a long time, probably more than a lot of people. I do have some questions today for the town council if they can't answer. Town officials to hand out some questions.
Okay, yeah, as I noted, we are not allowed to answer any questions.
Maybe you can request a future answer. I'll read these.
Mr. Mappa, is there a meeting set up between you and the staff and the attorney on this item this coming week?
I believe so.
Okay, all right.
Okay. I have 2 questions for the town council. Maybe you can, if you can't provide an answer, you can direct. Is it normal procedure for the town of Paradise to allow work to continue on a permitted job site when a stop work notice is in place? Whose jurisdiction is it to enforce the stop work notice or order? Also, question 2, when an official complaint is filed with the town of Paradise, what is the expected response time? If the complainants check the complaint box requesting a follow-up contact, shouldn't someone from the town be responsible to respond? Who is the town of Paradise official responsible to see that the follow-up occurs?
Okay. And I believe when we received your questions, I directed that to the town manager, and they contacted you to answer all those questions for you. So thank you. Okay, anybody else? Next card, I guess.
My next card is from Ronald and Joan Wolf.
Mayor, council members, I'd like to address about statute 6.12.050. That's the dog owner ordinance that dog owners are responsible and they for their dogs eliminating on public property or private property that's not theirs. And the wife and I have been going up and down the walkway, and we love the town of Paradise, so we're not complaining about picking up the feces that we find on the path and next to the path. But when last Wednesday I counted, we picked up over 300 piles of dog feces between Neil Road and Pearson, the community park. I mean, that's a little bit overboard, and I am hoping that the town council can, since you have the statute in the books, please either up the fine for not being responsible dog owner, or else perhaps you could get a VIP or somebody to become a patrol. And I mean, if you'd like, you can give me the responsibility or the authority, and the wife and I, when we go up and down, I'll ask for the person's name. If they don't want to give me their name, I'll just immediately call the police, and the police can respond. I mean, I've seen so many people that have just made me irate, come up on the path, and their dog immediately goes to the side, and I watch them, and they just turn their back to the dog, and when the dog gets done, it runs back to them or runs around, and then they just walk off. And no, I want to tell them, here, can I give you a bag? The wife and I each carry at minimum of 5 of those blue bags in the back of our wheelchairs at all times. Here, can we give you a bag? And I have every time that I've ever asked anybody that, they've said no, and they just walk off and, well, hold it, stop. You know, this is your responsibility, but I have no authority, so I haven't done anything. Can the town? I'm asking that the town enforce their law that they put on the statute. Don't make it a moot statute.
Thank you, and we appreciate your comments and your concern. That's because as a responsible dog owner, that bothers me. So we can look into what can be done, whether it's signage or making sure bag stations are out there like we do at the park stuff.
We'll look into this.
Okay, well, the town manager will put together a task force and work on dog poop patrol, sounds like. I appreciate it. Oh, absolutely, no, we understand, we know, we operate an animal shelter, we know how important it is to clean up after the animals. So it is a health and safety, not just a visual and odoriferous problem, so. Well, I'm sure it's the whole length of the path. What a mess.
There's 3 posts with those bags in it in the park.
Well, we appreciate
so
you
we'll look into that.
making the community aware of it, and thank you for your interest in that. Okay, next card, please. Do we have another card? Was
That's
that it?
the last card
That's
for
the last
public
card.
communication.
Anybody not have an opportunity to fill out a card that wants to come forward? I see Jim Clarkson spearheading the Arlen Hudson Paradise Beautification Make a Difference Day program. Jim, good to see you.
I appreciate that. I just wanted to thank the town personnel for getting on to Facebook and making a page for the Arlen Hudson Make a Difference Beautification Day, which is October 25th of this year. And I am proud to share with you, I've been in communication with several of the clergy of local churches as well as other clubs, and it looks like we're going to have a good response of various committees taking on different projects. And in honor of Arlen Hudson, who is one of the many citizens who have made a big difference in this town, I personally want to thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Well, first, for those of you that don't know who Arlen is the old guy that you would see out there in the bright yellow vest in his red pickup sweeping up the corners of town, and he's the former owner of Hudson's Appliance, and Jim is the current owner, the third generation, if you will, and Arlen is, well, he's my #1 citizen in Paradise, so he's been missed while he's been sick and in hospice, and so we have to put together a pretty huge community effort as a part of the National Make a Difference Day on October 25th. So if your business or your organization, club, or individually would like to do something in the community, we're looking for projects. You can contact Jim at Hudson's, or you can contact the town manager's office if you have a project. We're going to be reaching out to school district, PID, Parks and Rec, and everybody in town that might have possible projects that they would like to get done. And we've got some exciting ones already lined up, which we're going to talk about shortly. But anyway, I think it's an exciting opportunity, and we'll be doing this every year as part of National Make a Difference Day, which was a program started about 20 years ago by USA Today newspaper and their weekend magazine. So that's, if you have a project, please, if you want to volunteer, please do. And if all you want to do is contribute some money or cook some hot dogs for volunteers, we'll take that too. Okay, thank you, Jim. All right, on to item 7, council consideration. Item 7A, consider waiving the first reading of Town Ordinance 548 and approve reading by title only, introduce Ordinance 548, adding Chapter 8.56 to the Paradise Municipal Code relating to stormwater management.
Thank you. I asked staff to prepare a brief presentation tonight for the council and for the members in the audience to discuss what an NPDES permit is and what it means to us. So, Mark?
Sure thing. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is the Stormwater Quality Management Ordinance. There's 2 primary components to understanding this ordinance. One is what is stormwater and what is our storm drain system. Stormwater means any surface flow, runoff, drainage consisting entirely of water produced from weather events. And storm drain system is any infrastructure or ditch or gutter, inlet, piped system underground that conveys that stormwater to its ultimate destination. The town storm drain system, again, primarily consists of open ditches and channels, but again, we do have several DIs, or drainage inlets, that convey water to our receiving waters, such as Butte Creek and Lake Orville. Regulatory background on this ordinance before you tonight is that it starts at the federal level from the Environmental Protection Agency, and again, as the town manager mentioned, the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System under the Clean Water Act of 1987. And then at the state level, at California EPA and the State Water Resources Control Board. And they have tasked the town of Paradise as a part of this new permit to undertake this permit and obtain regulatory authority to enforce and maintain best management practices to protect our receiving waters. So again, last year we have this new permit bestowed upon us by the state, and we have this ordinance that meets the critical provision, giving the town the required legal authority to regulate the entry of pollutants and non-stormwater discharges into our stormwater system. This also satisfies the minimum requirements for stormwater quality and best management practices, especially during construction on various projects throughout the town. This ordinance accomplishes three major things. It defines what an illegal discharge is as any direct or indirect non-stormwater discharge unless exempted. And there's a list before you in the staff report. As far as exemptions, several include landscape irrigation, residential car washing, dechlorinated swimming pool water, water line flushing, and discharges from other potable water sources. In addition, this ordinance accomplishes the prohibition of discharge of sewage, industrial waste, pollution, garbage, and rubbish into the storm drain system, and again requires the utilization of best management practices, which are either temporary or permanent measures that help protect and promote good water quality in those receiving waters and protecting from erosion runoff into the storm drain system. This ordinance will be enforced by inspection through a combination of town employees, including engineering, public works staff, and code enforcement officers. Public reporting can be made by contacting the Public Works Department, and violations will be pursued by staff and follow the town's administrative citation program. The benefits of this ordinance is it satisfies our minimum requirements of our NPDES permit, the required portion of that, and it also promotes good practices to protect our water bodies and sets procedures how to handle those illegal discharges to the storm drain system when they do occur. Next steps, we expect a second reading for the council in September, and this ordinance would be effective 30 days following that. And staff, in the meantime, will undertake a public outreach effort to provide resources for application of best management practices, especially industries that are impacted the most and who really need that outreach, and what we've experienced here in the town as far as repeating stormwater quality issues. So we'll be undertaking that outreach effort as well. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time and open up for any questions.
Any questions from the council of Mark on this?
Is this optional?
It is not.
Yeah, Mark and I discussed this the other day, and it is there's some things in there that I know will be troubling for anybody if you do.
How's that going to?
Concrete saw cutting, you got to have a shop vac out there to vacuum up the water, essentially.
I understand. It's a very difficult place to implement. You're down the valley, flat, everything perfect. Very, very difficult. It's very tough to put this together. Even the town of Paradise has a difficult time in areas of this town to make these. I don't. There's parts of it I like because there's people that are grossly messing up the water system. Those we need situations that it's normal runoff that.
Well, and you know, one of the things is car washing, and we had a discussion this morning with the fire department about so they can't really wash their fire trucks. And of course, we're in a drought, so they're pretty much not doing that. But when we're not in a drought situation, how that's dealt with. Basically, you've got to contain every site.
That's not an option for other people. I mean, that's.
Right, and it makes it difficult if you're going to have a car wash fundraiser in the Coffee Zone parking lot or the Les Schwab parking lot, and how do we deal with that? And there's a lot of communities.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The exemptions are residential car washes, so I can wash off whatever's on my car. Could be toxins, anything. I can wash that off, let it go down the gutter, down the drain, in the waterways. But if I'm a fire department who needs to wash off their equipment between incidents or whatever, you know, or all the fundraising car washes that are done all over the place, you know.
Well, the key will be connecting those issues to best management practices to lessen the impact to the environment. It's not that it can't be done, period. It's just how can we do it better than just letting it run off into the storm drain system.
Well,
Car wash kits, environmental friendly activities, fundraising, that can still be done under the right circumstances. And we'll be looking at that more as we get more comfortable with this permit. But really identifying the gross negligence and polluting the storm drain system is our first priority.
And I think I do have to say, I'm sorry, Steve, I interrupted.
I don't think it's that new. I mean, it's new now because it's mandated, but I think everybody, all the citizens, are pretty conscious about what they let go down the drains. I know I've always felt that way when I'm liquids around the house, especially, water, washing my car.
There's currently in the state, anybody that is permitted, industries like our garbage company, different places, anybody that has to have a certain type of permit. There's currently the Freshwater Fishermen's Association. American Sports have some attorneys. They use Google Maps, and like a lot of buildings, if you have a metal roof with galvanized gutters, you have toxins going into the stormwater. You're going to test, their minerals or metals are going to show up, and they're going around, and not the Department of Water Resources or people that have the jurisdiction that issue the licenses and the permits. They're not doing the enforcement. These people, and they're going out, the Butte County landfill, our local garbage, everybody around, and they're filing suits, and they're saying, give us $50,000 and we'll drop the suit, because you may be in some violation. I just am curious whether or not because we have to do this, but then if we don't become subject to some of these, it's absolutely ludicrous to what they're doing out there, and the Attorney General or whoever, it just allows it. It just allows it. It's extortion, and it's just crazy.
Right,
Mark,
maybe
when
we
you
can.
say this is not optional, what happens if we don't adopt this?
Well, there are fines and penalties that could be implemented against the town, and our permit would not be renewed, which has fines on the scale of thousands of dollars per day. And it's a multiple, this isn't the end, this is really the beginning, the first piece of this permit that has a schedule over the next 5 years to implement certain tasks, including public outreach and classroom education and a website and public reporting system. So it's not optional. The state and groups, understand that this costs money, and as far as an unfunded mandate goes, but it didn't go anywhere, and it's still upon us. We are subject to this permit for the first time in 2013, whereas Butte County and Chico, they've been dealing with it for years now.
Yeah, there's a lot of communities that have had it for a number of years, larger communities, and that's where I've read about the car wash kits and best management practices to address those issues. So,
Maybe we bring it up at the League of Cities or something, but this is something that I do want to thank Mark for taking on, because we haven't had anyone do that on staff yet, and we have had this hanging overhead that we do have to comply with. So this is our first step in doing that.
But just for the public's information, back prior to Mark coming on board with us when Dennis Schmidt was here, when the state passed these new rules and changed the stormwater requirements, there was a ton of people at the League of Cities and everything. Dennis went to some seminars, and we all knew. And there's once again where people were trying to explain to the state, you're putting down here a bunch of stuff that is going to be extremely cost, and it's one thing fits all kind of mentality once again, with no funding whatsoever from the state, just a mandate with fines and penalties if you don't do it. And we all saw, we knew about this a couple, 3-4 years ago, and they changed it to where suddenly our municipality with whatever the whatever we are, became then subject to it. And they did that to a lot of cities all over the state. And again, the frustration at the league level and stuff, and with a lot of communities, is the state and these, like Water Quality Board, Air Resource Board, these non-elected people have this authority to create rules that impact every one of us. And the legislators at the state just say, okay, and they don't care.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
We have a card on this item.
I have
I'll
a
open the
card
public
from
hearing.
Tom Kelly.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
Tom Kelly, lived in this town for over
For a
40
while.
Over 40 years, helped build a good part of this town. This issue is, to me, it's, you know, it's a little, it's just overwhelming. Anybody's in the building business is going to just, you know, be impacted so much. Everything we do, we make a mess when we're building things. And if you've got to pick up every drop of water and do all this other stuff, I mean, that's absolutely nuts. It puts you out of business. When we started the on-site district here, we were working with the State Regional Water Quality Control Board. This is 35 or more years ago. Doug, back me up. They're monitoring wells on all these streams. We had at least 32 points of all on the streams that are constantly monitored for water quality in Paradise. And that was a part of the requirement to run our own district. And it seems that we've been doing pretty darn good. I agree that nobody should be dumping gasoline, paint, and everything else down, you know, gross pollutants. Fine, jump all over those people. But this other thing, it's going way too far. The other thing is we haven't had any rain up here, any real rain for years. We've had gully washers here. We're flooded out Butte Canyon. We haven't had any rain like that, and it floods part of Paradise. These water courses fill up, and you know, all of a sudden you've got rivers flowing down these canyons that you've never had before. Well, you know, it's just I don't see how they can even implement this thing. And then, what does NPDES mean? What is that?
National Pollution Discharge
Elimination system.
Elimination System, yeah. Sorry. I had the first half.
National, who's in charge of that? State
feds.
Water Quality Control? Who?
The feds, the EPA.
Our deadly EPA. It sounds just exactly like them, where they've imposing standards that nobody can meet, and absolutely that you can't meet. And in the building industry, they've imposed a heck of a lot of these standards. The last time they imposed a standard that we had to change all the wiring in the houses and install lighting fixtures not vented into the attics. They passed this, state passed it, it went through, and there was one little problem with that. Nobody in the United States made a fixture like that. They didn't even look, they never even talked to the contractors. They had, you know, no relationship with the contractors. And this is something that I'd say reject it. Let them come up and say, we're doing pretty darn good already. And we can show you with the State Water Quality Control Board, we've been working, we have a working district, we monitor our streams, and we've been doing a pretty good job already. This is something that I think is ludicrous.
Any other cards?
No more
All
cards.
right. Anybody else in the audience want to talk about this item? Okay, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the
I just want to
council.
I do thank you for bringing this up and doing this. It is tough. In the construction world, we've been doing this for a long time. Those of you guys who are in construction, we've been dealing with this for 15, 20 years. So this isn't new. The tough part is you have situations where we had a job one time where a guy came out and said, all right, you're doing a good job on everything else. Now I want you to get all the sawdust off the job site. This was a 240-unit apartment project. And we're standing there going, how do we get all the sawdust off of the streets and off the slabs and everything else? I mean, that's impossible. And it comes to a point, there's times in which they get out of hand and they get ridiculous with what they're asking. So, you know, I know we don't have a choice here. I know that, yeah, we can say we want to fight the state, and we're not going to do. There's times in which it goes too far, and we need to make them aware of that. We'll do what we can, but there's times it's too much. So.
And the best practices, as long as we're doing that, it keeps everybody away. You know what I
Very
mean? Because
minimum.
we are doing all the right things. We have the testing water. Everything we're doing is pretty doggone good. We don't have major gross polluters, you know, industry. We're not a community with a lot of industry other than the building trades, you know. So, you know, the best practices in having this and all, it just keeps those, we don't want those state people anywhere around us. We just like them to give us our money back.
John, did you want to make a comment?
I would. I'd like to, it's something we've all been aware of for 20 years at least. And, you always go to these construction sites and you even go to the edges of farmers' fields and you see the bales of hay. That's all there. That's designed to stop this. It's been going on for years. And basically what it is, it's an awareness of what we're already doing. And as Tom Kelly says, we're doing a good job of it. And, but it's putting it out there now where it's an awareness. We all need to be aware of it and continue to do what we've been doing, and that is a good job.
Jody, anything to add?
Yeah, in my prior life at Caltrans, I dealt a lot with this because we were obviously a construction company as well, and I do know that the State Water Resources Board and EPA do not hesitate to impose those fines that Mark talked about. So I think that we would be remiss in our duties to the town if we did not adopt this, because we would be subjecting the town to those fines and they would impose them.
Mark, we discussed this. He said, we've been doing most of these, pretty much all of this stuff anyway. We just don't have currently teeth in our ordinance to enforce. Am I?
That's correct.
Correct.
Part of the ordinance is that legal authority to issue a citation and follow up with an issue that you're not getting that compliance with.
So we don't have a lot of illegal discharges going on in the community. I think it's important to point that out to the community.
Let me ask this then, as following up on that. Just like somebody asked a question earlier, like if we issue a stop work order and somebody continues to work, currently, like I know in that situation, our next step by ordinance is we can issue an administrative citation for $100. It can be appealed, yakety yakety. So when we develop this, what is the thing if we find somebody that we have to cite? I mean, we want to put some teeth in it other than an administrative citation.
Right. Section 85622 outlines the criminal action and penalties.
Okay,
for the
so we,
ordinance.
I mean, that's the only point I would want to make. As we
It
develop
can
that, make
go
sure that
beyond.
it's,
It's got a number of things that can happen. We can file a civil action if it's
Page 90.
There are things that can be done. It authorizes nuisance abatement, civil actions,
Yeah.
injunctions, criminal actions can be taken. We have administrative citations. We have a number of different avenues to take if there's a potential or there's an actual problem. It's just those things are expensive to impose.
I understand
The
that, Dwight.
administrative
No,
citation
I totally understand that. My concern is this. Let's say that I'm a gross polluter. I have a job site or something, and I'm a gross polluter, and you come out and you say, hey, you got to stop that, and I ignore that. Okay, now you're going to send me a letter. You're going to tell me that, you're going to wait 15 days, send me a letter or whatever. The way we currently do it, I mean, if there's the possibility to criminally cite somebody or turn it over to the EPA or something like that, say, look, we gave them a thing, they didn't stop, they're still doing it. I know if you're out there, like there's currently in BCAG, there's currently somebody with a mine and they got some things, and the feds and everybody are coming in there and they're you need to stop somebody from doing something bad.
Yeah, well, we have a number of ways of doing it set
Okay,
forth
as
in the
long as they're
ordinance.
there.
Page
On
90.
Page 95.
Okay.
It's
Hello.
an entire page of different actions that can be taken. Facts, resolution. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? So if not, I'll entertain a motion on item, on ordinance 548, and most importantly, I think waive reading of the entire ordinance.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance as a matter of protecting our town from any criminal, any activity, civil or criminal, and that the said ordinance is only restating what we've been doing for years, and now let's put it into writing.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Rawlings, second by Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Aye.
Councilmember Culleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Jones, Councilmember Rawlings,
Aye.
Mayor Lauter.
Aye. Thank you. On to item 7B, authorize the implementation of public safety recruitment incentives for the police department.
And this item will be presented by our Police Chief, Gabriela Tazardanin.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, as you know, the Paradise Police Department has experienced difficulty in recruiting qualified applicants for the position of police officer in public safety dispatchers. Our recruitment difficulties have been compounded by the fact that larger agencies in and outside of Butte County attract candidates by offering greater compensation packages that include higher pay and recruitment incentives. The town's inability to offer higher wages has left us at a disadvantage, and therefore I'm here today to ask the council to approve a few short-term, affordable recruitment incentives in an attempt to be more competitive in the recruitment and hiring process. Currently, we have 2 incentives in place. We offer partial academy sponsorship to entry-level police officers, and we also have the ability to offer experienced applicants a higher starting step on the pay scale by using the different levels within the salary range. This applies to the lateral police officers and dispatchers, as well as former members of the military. The starting pay varies depending on their experience. And although these 2 incentives have assisted the department in attracting few applicants, it has not had the impact that we were looking for to fill the vacancies that we have. So at this time, I'm asking the council to consider adding a few incentives. First, a referral bonus. This would allow a town employee to receive a referral bonus for recruiting a police officer or a public safety dispatcher candidate that completes all the testing process and is hired by the town. It would be $100 for an entry-level applicant and $300 for a lateral applicant. Second, an applicant sign-on bonus. This is when an applicant successfully completes all of the testing process and is hired by the town. That applicant would be entitled to a one-time sign-on bonus. For an entry-level police officer, a bonus of $1,000. Lateral police officer, $3,000. Entry-level dispatcher, $500. And lateral dispatcher, $1,500. Third, a lateral credited leave bank. When a lateral police officer or lateral dispatcher applicant is hired by the town, they would receive a one-time 80 hours of vacation and 80 sick leave hours credited into their leave bank. And lastly, a relocation assistance bonus or payment. A police officer or dispatcher applicant that resides 60 or more miles away from the town of Paradise would be eligible for a one-time relocation assistance payment of $1,000 if within 30 days of hire they would move to a location within 20 miles of the town of Paradise. Staff understands that town's financial challenges, but we believe that our current hiring and recruitment environment requires the town to take action and implement these incentives. Also, it is important to point out that by attracting laterals, the town will save money on training and overtime because the lateral training time is shorter than that of an entry-level officer, and so we can get that officer or the dispatcher working by themselves quicker. Lastly, staff recognizes that the incentives may not be necessary in the future, and therefore we recommend that the new incentives sunset on December 31st, 2015. Anyone has any questions?
Any questions from of the chief? This incentive program is kind of as a result of a meeting that John Rawlings and I had with the chief and with Crystal Peters, our HR manager, and the manager and our finance director, because it's frustrating. Paradise is not the only agency that is having a hard time recruiting. It's very competitive. We're seeing record numbers of recruits going through the academy that are sponsored. Like there was a period where very few of them were sponsored by an agency. Now lots of them are being sponsored, and so we wanted to try to do something to show our support and show that we have openings and want to get them filled. And if you're unsure what a lateral is in law enforcement, that means they work for another agency. You could be Highway Patrol or another police agency or whatever, and that's what a lateral is. So they're already trained and experienced, and that's it's a real boon when we can pick up a lateral from another department, because that really lowers the training time, and it's a little more known commodity for the department. Any cards on this item?
No cards on this item.
Anybody in the audience want to speak on this item? Council have comments?
I would just like to say that I strongly support this initiative because I and myself have been a police recruiter way back in the past years ago. And with the competition out there the way it is, this will allow us the opportunity to attract better applicants and or more applicants. So I strongly support this and a recommendation or motion that we adopt this.
I want to make one quick comment, and that we went over it kind of quickly, but the piece about veterans, and today we have lots of men and women returning from Iraq and Afghanistan and getting out of the service, and a lot of them have very similar experience, understand law enforcement command structure and the discipline. So where we're able to, the chief is able to evaluate that, and if that might give us an advantage in hiring somebody, that we can hire them at a higher step. And I can mention, one of our top police department employees, Lieutenant Steve Rowe, who retired from a career in the military as a officer's rank, and now he's rapidly approaching his second retirement with us, but started at probably in his 40s, I think. After getting out of the military. So we want to make sure, and Crystal has included that in our recruitment flyers, that we're very interested in veterans and the experience that they have, because they do make terrific law enforcement employees. So. Okay, so you were making a motion.
I was.
And Jody wanted to make a comment. I'm sorry.
I just am totally in support of this. I think it's really important that we fill the vacancies that we have, because we're really expecting a lot of our employees in terms of overtime and hours that they work, and you can only do that for so long without burning people out. So I'm glad to see that we're going to offer some incentives. I think they're reasonable incentives that don't obligate the town to long-term payments, and I really appreciate the mayor and Councilman Rollins and the police chief for coming up with these ideas. I think they're great.
Thank you. Thank you for the support.
I would just like to say what the mayor talked about with the military, people coming out of the military, the veterans, they make very good police officers. They've been trained, they know what discipline's all about, and I think it would be good, just as he was saying, recruiting those.
Mr. Culleton, did you have anything to add?
Sure. I don't know if the audience got to see the agenda packet, but if we had 50% if we hired all of the vacant positions that we have currently right now, and 50% of them were laterals and 50% were new hires under this incentive program, the total cost of the town would be $18,000. That isn't, or something in that neighborhood. And that isn't necessary, I don't want anybody to think, well, you're spending, because we talk about how tight our budget is and how little money we have. The thing is that the amount, by having those people, the amount of savings we'd get from the overtime we're expending, plus the wear and tear on the individuals, would more than cover that, So this is a win-win. It's the most economical way that we can try to be competitive out there. We are not looking to farm out our police department to the Butte County Sheriff's Office. We looked at that years ago. It doesn't work, and the deal is our police officers know our citizens and know our community, and they interact. That's a problem they're having in Orville. Their police department doesn't know their citizens. We're going to keep our police department, and so this is a really good way to build it up, and I'm in complete support of this.
Mr. Boland, did you have anything to add? I didn't want to cut you.
No.
Okay.
Did great.
Okay. All right. So, John, you were making a motion?
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion that we accept this item 7C, is it?
7B.
7B as written, and that it become part of our recruitment process. We do have a fine police department.
I'm going to, it's my prerogative, and second that. Okay,
Motion
so
by
roll call.
Rawlings and a second by Mayor Lauder. The roll call. Vice Mayor Boland.
Aye.
Councilmember Culleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Jones.
Aye.
Councilmember Rawlings.
Aye.
And Mayor Lauder.
Aye, thank you. Okay, 7C, consider authorizing the purchase of material to replace flat roof design on Fire Station 1 with a new pitched roof design in the estimated amount of $54,853, and 2, authorizing volunteer labor offered for the project from Alliance Kingdom Builders in an estimated amount of $75,000, and 3, accept the Paradise Elks Lodge 2026 donation of $1,500 towards materials necessary to re-roof Fire Station 81, our main fire station on Birch Street.
I'm very pleased to introduce Paul Durr, our Public Works Manager, who will present this item tonight. And I know he has some friends in the audience from the Alliance Kingdom Builders, and also I believe I see someone from the Paradise Elks Lodge as well. So this is a great item for us to be talking about this evening.
Well, I'll see what I can do. Mayor Lauder, Council. My name is Paul Durr. I'm Public Works Manager, and I'm here before you to request that the council approve $54,853 in material costs to upgrade the roof at Fire Station 81 from a flat roof design to a slope design. Fire Station 81 was the first fire station built for the town of Paradise. I believe it was built in 1981. No reason that it's 81, it was built in 81, but for several years it's had a leaky roof. In 2009, the roof went out for a bid to have the flat roof repaired. The cost on that was in excess of $75,000 for a flat roof design. In 2011, council was approached with a proposal by fire department to install a pitched roof design with funding becoming from some donation sources, but there was no labor involved in that. What we have before us now is we have an organization which would like to provide the volunteer labor and minor equipment to install materials supplied by the town for a new roof for Fire Station 81.
Thank you, Paul. That was really good.
Paul,
I do want to say...
So we're going to declare a surplus of the 67 buckets and barrels that we have throughout the station that are gathering the rainwater now?
No, we haven't had any rain, so we haven't had much of an issue with that.
Yeah, but we still have those buckets. When I've been over there,
Still have the
there are buckets everywhere, garbage cans.
It's been a long time in coming.
So along with this, we're asking for the council to approve funding, which I believe that finance can explain a little bit more if need be. Also authorize volunteer labor to do the installation and accept a donation of $1,500 from the Paradise Elks Lodge of $1,500 towards that material cost.
Great.
Thank you.
And I see we have a group here from AKB Alliance Kingdom Builders, which is part of the CMA Church, Christian Missionary Alliance Church, and we want to thank them. And Vice Mayor Boland is also a key part of that, and we want to thank him. He really didn't want to talk about this and didn't want to draw any attention to himself, but I'm going to do that anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, we need more groups like AKB in.
I like that Pastor Larry Shelton came forward one day, and he basically said that as a church, they don't pay property taxes. And so how could they give back to this community? And they were so gracious in stepping up to help our town. They knew that we were having budget problems, and they knew it's something that they can do. It is a big effort. All of the guys sitting in the audience today, the whole entire congregation, I think it's amazing. It's an amazing thing for them to do.
For the audience too, for the audience members that don't know, AKB stands for Alliance Kingdom Builders. It's part of the mission to just make the kingdom better.
And then how exciting for the Elks Lodge to step up and want to donate some materials.
And so we're also going to tie this in as a part of our Arlen Hudson Paradise Beautification Make a Difference Day. So I think it's I think we'll be done. Hopefully we'll cap it off, but
project.
yeah. So and then hopefully we'll get lots and lots of rain to test the new roof. So that's what we're
Shut down the ice rink.
Yeah, that would be too bad. Okay.
Have
so
2 cards.
You have 2 cards, okay? Go ahead.
First card is from Mort Habriel.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for this opportunity. Some of you on this panel will remember back more than 2 years ago when this issue came up and several chiefs had presented the problem of where to put the next bucket because they were running short. As you've already commented, they had several. At that time, though, when Chuck Rowe was here, there were 3 contractors who made a point of wanting to do this work. He rejected the lowest bidder out of hand because he wasn't properly licensed. He rejected the second lowest bidder because he didn't have commercial roofing experience. The only other name left was Rick Carpenter Roofing, and Chuck Rowe looked at Rick Carpenter right in the eye and said, "Rick, you're at the top of the list, and you're the only one on the list. You've got this job." His point to us, a member of the community, was we're, as a town, not going to take the cheapest method to get this done. We're going to do it right with somebody who has experience and the right license to do it. So I think it'd be appropriate to tell the community that this new group, instead of Rick Carpenter Roofing, has all of those qualifications and can do this to that level of quality of work which the town expects, because it's our money.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Ward. Yeah, and one thing, I want to also thank one of our former town firefighters, Matt Pallade, who owns Matthews Roofing, and he's been doing a lot of work as he's assigned to the station down there at Station 81, marking out things on the roof where joists are and all kinds of things on the roof, and we appreciate his work because he is a licensed roofer, and so he's able to help the AKB people and who are also contractors and know a great deal about this. So I think we're in good hands. Next card.
Tom Kelly.
Twice now. You walked up here and he
If you just sat up front, the dog wouldn't bark at you, Tom.
No, okay. I appreciate this group volunteering to do the job. I don't know whether they have a design completed or not, whether it's the truss system going in.
It is a
or
truss
whatever.
system, yeah.
But there'll be some electrical work on that job, and I'd like to volunteer to help them do electrical work. I think I'm qualified, and I'd be glad to volunteer. There may be other volunteers too. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that we have a system with the town of Paradise volunteers that are working on yard cleanup, and when we're doing projects, we have an insurance program, and we insure the people that are out there for that day while they're working on the project. And I don't know whether you consider that a part of this, but if you can, insure these guys while they're up there, in case somebody gets hurt.
I know the town manager's already addressed. We've got that dealt with, so that was one of the first considerations anytime we have a project like this. So thank you, Tom.
Welcome. Thank you.
This group is protected.
Yes. Okay. Any other cards?
That was my last card.
Anybody else in the audience wanted to speak about this joyous item? All right. Thank you. I will entertain a motion.
They're, before we go into that, they're a bunch of chickens. They won't get up and talk.
I will.
Yeah, no. I just, I'm proud of these guys. I am a volunteer with AKB, so because of that, I don't want to conflict at all anywhere in this, so I'm going to stay out of the vote. I have no financial gain in it, but still, I don't want there to be a perception of. Really neat to watch as people are hearing about this project. On a daily basis, people are saying, I want to be a part of this. I want to help out. People from making sandwiches when we have a work day on a Saturday to engineers saying, I'll take care of it, to, just thing after thing after thing. People are saying, I want to be a part of it. And that is, I'm excited about this. I mean, it is a daunting project because there's a lot to it, but it is one that's going to be exciting to watch go up. And I know that we have more than the horsepower to do it. So,
And do you need anything that you do need help with? Are there resources that you need? As Tom said, do you need an electrician?
need
a painter? Do you need?
Yeah, and Rob Cohn is going to be kind of our point person on that. I think everybody knows Chief Cohn, former Chief Cohn. He's right back there hiding, but he will be the one that kind of pushes this for us and makes it happen. And so you can talk to him about that. We do need some equipment. There's some ways of being safe, of getting people up. It's, you're up high. So, we're looking for some equipment to get people up in a safe manner to do some of the work.
I might know an equipment rental guy.
Yeah.
Well, Nick Herrera's got
in the
that
room.
stuff, too.
Going to call him right after this, so.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do it. Nick's got some stuff too. My experience with AKB, other than going to their golf tournament one year, a couple of years ago, when we had the deck we owned the depot in the park, and the deck fell apart, and it had to be replaced. And it was a group from this group of men that showed up there. And also, I don't think the public really knows, maybe, they do a whole bunch of outreach in our community. They fix elderly people's cars. They fix computers. They do a lot of things. So if you're in need, like they provided firewood for years and years, think they still do. If you're in need, reach out and contact the Alliance Kingdom Builders at the CMA. They do a lot, and it's service, and they do it. So they're a good group.
I have to say something too. I'm very proud of the AKB. They clear fire lines for the elderly. They do anything that this community needs. They've put on decks on houses to keep them from being shut down, so the owner can stay in the house. They still have the firewood ministry. In fact, I just donated an oak tree that fell down unexpectedly, and they came and cleaned the place up in about 4 hours. This was no small oak tree, and these guys are right on it. They do a good job on everything they do, and I want to apologize to them for being out of uniform. I've got several of those shirts at home, and I didn't wear one tonight, and so I was after the vice mayor for not calling me and giving me the memo on to wear. But
be able to vote.
That's true. Well, not necessarily. But anyway, I thank you very much for being here, and I'm very proud of all of you.
And so whether you're in need or if you would like to help out, I'm sure they'd love to have members of the community join their cause. So thank you again for that. And with that, I will entertain a motion. Can I?
I will make a motion, because they both would have a conflict of interest. I will move that we approve this agenda item. I know it's not a conflict of interest, but they're both AKB members.
I would be honored to second it. I'm an AKB, not a member per se, but anyway, I'm a member of
Costing
that
them
church.
money. I don't think it should be.
Help me out, Tim.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Boland? Did you abstain? Councilmember Culleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Jones?
Aye.
Councilmember Rawlings?
Aye.
And Mayor Lauder?
Aye. Thank you very much. We really do. Can I give you a... Can I ask the manager, when they do start this project, we're going to be posting that on the town Facebook page so that the community knows
absolutely.
when it starts out, so people come by and honk, wave, bring cookies or something.
And it might be a good time to also mention, and we're going to be doing this again, but Dan Wentland, another member, is going to be doing the Help for People building here pretty soon as
Yeah.
well. So we have a volunteer-rich community, if nothing else. We have so many good churches and volunteers and groups in this community. It's amazing what we do.
As part of this thing we just passed, it also included accepting a donation, and I see that the head of the Elks Lodge is here, and we didn't ask him to, you ought to come on up, Mike. We ought to at least say thank you, too. I mean, we acknowledge the AKB, but we need to acknowledge Elks Lodge as well,
Yeah.
Thank you for your generous donation.
He was going to call you the grand poobah of the Elks, but I don't remember.
I'll just say it pales in comparison to what AKB is donating, but the Elks is a big support of the community, and we know that roof has been leaking for quite some time, and we thought it'd be a nice contribution to help get it going along. So we're more than happy to participate and offer up that funding for the town. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks. Okay, on to council communications. 8A is consider providing direction to the town's voting delegate regarding the League of California Cities proposed resolutions at the annual conference. Who was selected to be? I almost said stuck.
That would be me.
I think it's Jody. Jody Jones.
I think I volunteered.
Junior council member, rookie council member, gets to do the, what it means at the league conference, and there's 4 of us going. If you're the voting member, you're the one that has to stay to the bitter end. So there are 4 of us going, and just so the public knows, we pay our own way in our own hotel, and in our council budget, we budgeted for basically 50% of the registration cost. The town's picking up that, but it's of us. So very little cost to the town, and we're paying our own airfare and hotels and so on going to this. It's well worth going to. So on to item 8A. And did you have some, I guess I can refresh you on what those items are. There's, I think it's just the one, and it's on the illegal marijuana grow sites, and this was brought forward by the Redwood Division of the League of Cities, asking the state to take some steps to address problem that they've seen prevalently in the Empire Division, which is over there from basically Crescent City on down to Fort Bragg, Healdsburg, Lakeport, Ukiah, Trinidad, Lakes, Clear Lake, etc. Had a chance to read this, do you have some guidance for our I've read it, and I'm also a member of the Public Safety Policy Committee that's going to be addressing this the first day of the conference, but I'm supportive of including our support, or voting in support of this resolution.
And is there also time to individually contact Jody and let people know how they feel and how
Sure.
they want her to?
And basically, here's what it does. It calls for a resolution calling upon the governor and the legislature to convene a summit to address the devastating environmental impacts of illegal marijuana grows on both private and public lands throughout California, and the increasing problems to public safety related to these activities by working in partnership with the League of California Cities to develop responsive solutions and to secure adequate funding for cost-effective implementation strategies. And as you know, the city of Fort Bragg lost a council member fellow that Woody and I knew, Jerry Mello, who was murdered by a marijuana grower that when he went out to inspect some a property for a lumber company that he worked for, and so it was very tragic. And so it really came home for those of us that knew. Okay. Input, guidance. I don't think we need to take. I don't think our agenda asked for us to
Provide direction to the
Provide
town voting
direction.
delegate, you know.
So.
I want to do what, I would say what Alan White used to always say when I was a voting delegate. You know, when you go there to represent us, vote your conscience. The thing is, when you study this thing, one of the things here, the League of California Cities is opposed to legalizing marijuana for other than medical use. That's their official stance and position. And this particular thing is just to go out. You know, it's not even that. It's just simply just tell the governor, hey, you need to deal with this, you know. And so there's a couple of things the legislature's doing. There's a couple of bills working through to legalize it and do some other things. So, I mean, I would just say that, like, go there, and I'm not opposed to it, but it's one of those league things where, okay, we're going to send a letter to the governor and say, oh, here, we want you to do this. And everybody else is out there with money trying to get it legalized. And it's, you know, not a bad thing.
Sufficient guidance?
I guess so. Even though this came from those counties in the northwest part of the state, I don't think the problem is restricted to them.
Unique.
And I do know personally that it's here too. And so I would think we would be more strongly in support. And I'd actually like to see our town write a support letter like the ones that are included in here.
Dwight, is that any problem? Do we need to?
Well, it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
Just provide
But so
direction.
the direction, but
You can individually.
Any of us individually can we can each write a letter.
Can we write one and all sign
Is that legal?
it? Not saying it, no, I mean, saying we.
It would probably be preferable if you,
Write them individually.
But if we
individual
say-
letters.
If we said we, the individual council members, support it, not we, the town of Paradise.
I don't tell people how to write their
We
letters.
could put that on the next agenda.
I just look at.
Well, we don't have time because the meeting.
Oh, it's prior,
The
okay.
letters of support don't have, what's going to happen at the annual conference, it's just the thing, the governor, if that passes, then something will be crafted to go to the governor. And
Okay,
there's
so we
plenty
could
of
put it
time.
on, we could put it on the September agenda, assuming that, if this passes the league, which I would expect it will, then let's calendar it for the agenda, or agendize it, that we will sign a letter supporting the league's position and encouraging the governor to take that action and include that in the.
Yeah, and in the past,
Okay.
the council's direction, they've concurred to let the voting delegate vote their
Yes.
conscience. Is that-
Okay.
And I take it from the reaction here that I could say that the council members from Paradise support the proposal.
You're going to,
Well,
what'll
they
happen
usually
there,
just
if you've
have
never
a
been
vote.
there, every city has one vote. And every city at the annual conference, when you get there, you'll register, both you and John as the alternate, and you'll be given a voting card. And when you'll sit in a separate area where all the, and that's because of San Francisco, it happened there 8 years ago. But anyway, you'll sit there, and when they call for the vote, everybody will you'll hold your card up. And there will be opportunities for people to get up and speak for it and against it. They'll allow 15 minutes for each. So if you want to get up and make any comments, Town of Paradise supports or anything, you'll have an opportunity there. But when you actually vote, you just hold your card up.
Frankly, I don't think you're going to see any opposition.
No.
There is a council member from Healdsburg, though, that has he has a dispensary, so he may not be in support of it. But
Okay, let's move on.
okay, on to item 8B, council oral reports. I'm going to give you a break for a moment, Jody. Mr. Boland.
I have one very brief one. Today, Jen Robbins and I from Animal Control, she We're still in the process of moving the sustainability project forward with the Animal Protection Service, Control Service, and we're making great progress. So today we visited a few of the veterinarians and they're helping to formulate a reporting system and a system that will work well for the community regarding vaccinations and dog licenses. So that's what we were doing today, and they seem to be very supportive, the veterinarians in the area. Still got some work to do on it yet.
Thank you, John. Mr. Culleton?
I attended the BCAG meeting and the air quality meeting in town of, where would we go? Orland, Gridley, some little town. And I don't remember what town it was. It was a small little town, though. And they had, it was standard business with closed session to look at the air quality manager's contract and approve some budgets. And the new transportation center that's going in on BCAG, we had a couple of cost things we had to do there. And other than that, there wasn't much going on in either one of those meetings.
Did you see Congressman LaMalfa on Saturday?
I did see Congressman LaMalfa on Saturday. Saturday was the Dutch Oven Cook-Off, the 5th annual Dutch Oven Cook-Off, which is a benefit for the Gold Nugget Museum and the local Boys and Girls Club. It's an event I started 5 years ago. It's a really fun community event. We had 10 cook teams this year, which is the most we've ever had. We had a team from Ontario, California, a team from Turlock, a team from Reno, and a team from Lewiston didn't show up. I had three different people that stayed in motels in our community, so we got some TOT tax. We had the most people ever show up. We made $1,800 for the Gold Nugget Museum and $600 for the Boys and Girls Club. It's a great event. So, and that's all I did.
Kudos to you, Mr. Culleton. Well, do what we can.
I served on the Request for Proposal Evaluation Committee Cypress Curve project, and I think you'll see prior to do the design work. And I did go to the Dutch Oven Cook-Off with 5 of my grandchildren. We had a wonderful time. It was really a neat event. I had never been before, but I would highly recommend it. Great.
All right. I was finally able to make it out to the Thursday night party in the park, and that was fun. And there's vegetables out there, and great music, and fellowship, and it's a nice community event. And one of the things that one of our terrific community volunteers and former planning commissioner Loretta Griffin said to me, she says, Scott, I love this park, love these events. We just don't see enough use. We need to see more use of the park, and how can we do that? And so we got talking about it and thought perhaps we can come up with a donation fund that we can channel through the Paradise Community Foundation. And when there are, events out there that need some funding to help pay for the park rental fees, because we can't, as a public entity, we can't give it away. And this way we can underwrite some of those costs, because there are costs of public works and staffing it and various other things. And maybe there's a way we can add another half a dozen events a year by doing that. So just a thought. Had a BCAG meeting and or not BCAG, I'm sorry, LAFCO meeting, and nothing real exciting going on there. We did have a mayor's city select committee meeting where I met with the mayors of Biggs, Gridley, Oroville, and Chico, and that's always interesting, and we're going to try to get together a little more often to talk about common issues that the cities have, and sometimes that's versus the county, and sometimes it's just things that are of benefit to us, whether it may be tourism, and I reminded my friends from Oroville and Chico that Paradise isn't your enemy when it comes to recruiting businesses. You know, that a win for Chico or a win for Oroville is a win for Paradise, because we know that 20% of those people are going to choose to live up the hill in Paradise because of our terrific schools and our safe downtown skyway, and whatever it might be, the nice churches and the good people and the fresh air, whatever it is. We know historically that people are going to decide to live up on the ridge, and so use that as an asset, because if somebody brings in a company that has 300 new jobs in Chico, we know potentially that 20% of those people may choose to live on the ridge, and so why not use that? Let us help them with that 20%. Let us help sell, because we're not going to ever have the ability to land a company here. We don't have the space, we don't have the infrastructure, but we can certainly help cheerleader for Butte County on. We can talk about how nice Chico is or how nice Oroville is for their business. So anyway, it was a good opportunity to talk with our colleagues, and we have another meeting planned for first week of January. So that's all I have. Do we have any items for future agendas that anybody needs to bring up?
Yeah, I want to have our current ordinance on the trash recycling stuff that says that when you put things in a blue cart, when it's at your house, it's yours. When you put it on the street, it belongs to Waste Management. I want to have
Waste Management, or
I mean
Northern Recycling. Thank you.
Belongs to Waste Company. Anyway, I want to have the town attorney come back to us. I want to amend that ordinance so that we currently have there's a bunch of containers, one out in front of the town hall here. We got some grant money. We had containers built for Paradise or recycling and garbage. Currently, there's a deal with Cove that the garbage company has made a deal with, and they go around and they pick up all of those. They're located in in our city park. They're located at some of the PID properties. They're on public lands, and we have nothing if people go in there and rob the recyclables out of there. There's absolutely no way. We can't even do anything about it. We didn't even say it's wrong, and so I want to change that ordinance to make that not okay, because
there's a person that's making
there's a person in town that's what they
making it a business.
They live in their truck, they drive around, they go through all of the containers, both at businesses and everything else. And so I just want to bring back to the council a change that ordinance so that we have some way to tell people that you can't take things that aren't yours.
Let's make it unlawful
I want to make it
someone
unlawful
to take recyclable
Yeah, I mean, if you go to like the gas station and if they give you permission to take the collectibles out of their trash cans, okay. But the ones that the town owns and is put in public places, and we have pictures of this guy with his arm clear up to his shoulder, pulling out the stuff, and what's happening is Cove is picking up those things. And the deal is that they get to fund their programs with the recyclables from that, and all they're finding in there is bags of dog poop, Is this? No, I mean that's the truth.
And
that's
not
absolutely
enough
the truth.
bags of dog food.
Yeah, not enough bags. Yeah, but I'm just saying, but their recyclables are being taken by this fellow that has literally made it a business, and I know that our police their hands are tied because the guy's not doing anything illegal.
Okay, we'll bring that back, sorry.
I'd like to have that one brought back.
Woody, I forgot that.
And the other thing I'll point out about that is the revenue that Northern Recycling and Waste Services generates from recyclables underwrites the cost of their service to the entire community. That's how we keep the rates down. And having people that don't have service and having people stealing those valuable, it's a valuable commodity, and stealing that hurts the entire community, and that's why I think it's important. We need to.
This
Wait,
person
so-
stole the recycling cans that belonged to Northern Recycling from the high school, had them in the back of his truck, and drives around through town every day picking up recyclables out of everybody's containers. I'm just
Okay. All right. Any other items that we need to?
I have one more item before
Okay, well,
closed
I haven't
session.
gone to the town manager's oral reports
And
yet.
I just have one update from our Community Development Director, Craig Baker, regarding our developments in town, updates on that, and that's the only thing before closed session. Craig?
Thank you, Madam Manager, Mr. Mayor, and the rest of the council. Just a quick report on some of our current private projects in town. As you know, a Dollar General store is currently being constructed at 6574 Clark Road adjacent to Kmart. All development permits have been issued. In fact, the foundation slab for the store was poured last night. They're still planning to open in November of this year. The Verizon cell tower has been approved by the town for near the intersection of Wagstaff and Pence Road at Foothill Lumber. Conditionally approved, and we are awaiting the submittal of construction plans. Safeway is moving forward with the site analysis for construction of a new store, a fueling station, and other commercial spaces on property located on the west side of Skyway between Black Olive and Pearson Road. We just heard from their representative, I believe yesterday, indicating he'll be in town in a couple of weeks and will probably make contact with us to discuss progress with that project. Groundwater monitoring and soil percolation tests are complete. Again, their representative has indicated that plans for the store and the project will be developed over the next several months. As you probably also know, Big Five Sporting Goods is marching along. Their construction is progressing quickly on property located on Skyway at Maxwell Drive. All construction permits have been issued, and their planned opening is still planned for September of this year. We have issued demolition permits for the former Egg Roll Express and several vacant buildings at the intersection of Skyway and Pearson. Those demolition permits require those buildings to be satisfactorily demolished by 3 different dates based on the issuance dates of those permits: October 22nd for the Egg Roll Express, and October 10th and October 21st for 4 buildings located along Skyway at Pearson. The Skyway Lodge Motel, control of that property has been transferred to the courts and to a receivership. The receiver has received bids for demolition of the structures, but I don't believe has executed a contract for that. And a local developer is evaluating the site for possible conversion to a different land use that may not involve demolition. And our last and most, and our freshest project is NRWS, Northern Recycling and Waste Systems, has been awarded a $217,000, little over $217,000 competitive bid, or competitive grant rather, that will pay for an expanded used oil collection facility, including the construction of a 3,400 square foot collection and storage building. An application for design review for that building has already been filed for the town. So that project will be moving along shortly.
Is that HHW thing or is that a different thing?
So this is a new one.
This is a new one.
This is the one that actually fronts on Clark Road at the corner of American Way. So it'll clean up the series of
Because
sheds.
just for everybody's information, what they got a grant for the HHW facility they have, and what they're able to do is expand it, put a covered roof over it, which is going to help with the stormwater runoff and everything. And they also were able to create another room, because what will be available there is a lot of people turn in things like rattle cans of paint and insecticides and fertilizers that are unopened or partially open, that are still good and full. So they'll be put in this storage room, and the public then will be able to come in there, sign a waiver release, and take things from there at no cost. They're going to try, it's part of the reuse thing. You know, I got perfectly good fertilizer. You'll be able to go to this facility and get it.
HHW is household hazardous waste, and that was part of our the new trash and recycling franchise that the town and about 8. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And where are we on our light subcommittee?
We're in the, go ahead, Lauren, go ahead.
We're working on that. Just to let you know, we'll bring a report back to the council. We're establishing the, we're going to be setting up our first committee meeting here soon.
Okay, all right.
John and I on that, and we've met once with Lauren.
Okay.
Some advice.
Okay, all right. I know Ward's interested in that, so.
You just have like a few things
We got a
going
couple
on, not
things going on, a
much.
couple little projects, so. Okay, at this point, we're done with the regular business portion, and we thank you for attending. We're going to go into closed session pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, and we're going to take like a 5-minute break before we do that. So, thank you for attending, folks.